Darpin Shah, banking analyst, is joining us from HDFC Securities for his take on the kind of numbers getting reported for the third quarter for Axis Bank. As far as the bottom line is concerned, there is bound to be disappointment. Isn't that, Darpin?
Yeah, a slight disappointment in the bottom line.
So how are you viewing the quarter gone by? The net NPA number has come in at 2.09% versus the 1.9%. We're looking at it quarter on quarter. So as far as asset quality is concerned, what's your reading, Darpin?
Yeah, the net NPA rise of almost 10% on a sequential basis is looked at to be negative. Now, and the provision coverage ratio has also fallen. So there is slightly a negative front in terms of for Axis Bank.
The net interest income has come in at 6,453 crore rupees. As far as their operational performance is concerned, how have they been doing in recent times? And as far as the third quarter is concerned, what's your take?
So if you look from NII till the operating front level, operating profit level, they are largely in line with our estimates. No major change there. However, higher provisions has led to the fall in profitability for them. And despite this, their net NPAs are up 10%, almost 10% up on a sequential basis. So that is slightly discomforting.
Right, slightly discomforting is what you call it. Let's get further perspective from Mona Khetan, senior banking analyst at Reliance Securities. Mona, your first reading of the Axis Bank numbers, clearly as far as bottom line is concerned, there is disappointment, but what's your reading on the asset quality as well that the bank's reporting?
So, well, from the outset, it seems like that the provisioning levels are very high, and it remains to be seen as to how much of the slippages have come from watch list. If a large part of it is from the predefined watch list of around 12,700 crore, it may not be as negative. And if they have provided a lot on the the slippages and so on. However, if a large part of the slippages are from outside the watch list as well, that could be a little concerning.
He's been looking at these numbers and he joined us for the preview as well. Compared to our estimates, Barun, how's it stacking up for Axis Bank for the third quarter?
So it's a bit mixed over here, Vikram, as far as our estimates go, because on the growth front, we had projected a slight slowdown. So the NII is in line. On a pre-provisioning basis, the profits are also, they're all right. But the slippage figure over here is definitely higher than what we had allotted for. We were looking at something like a 4,000 crore number. So at 5,100 crores, it's coming considerably above our estimates, so almost more than 20%. But like the earlier guest, I don't know who they were, but they were saying that a lot of these are coming from the BB and below book. So that's an encouraging sign. But on an absolute term, that number is much larger than what we thought. Now, looking at the margins, the NIMs were expected to hold up quite solidly this quarter because the bank has just completed a capital raise. They've not really contracted, but they've not really improved. They've contracted slightly, around 3 bips to 3.57%. So that's a bit disappointing as well, especially because, Axis is aiming for that 18% ROE, and in order for that to be achieved and the way they're growing after a capital raise, there was supposed to be some margin improvement, and that was clearly communicated in the last con call. So that's also not come in. So that's a bit discouraging as well. But barring that, I'm just going to dive into the numbers deeper. On the face of it, the growth aspect of it seems intact.
NIM's growth, like you mentioned, 3.57%. Let's get perspective on this as well. Mona, what's your sense of this? Because as far as their capital raise was concerned, the NIMs were likely to benefit. Clearly, that hasn't happened much, has it?
Sorry, the NIMs are at 3.53 you mentioned?
Right. Yes, Mona.
I think the impact on NIM would also happen from the higher slippages. So we were frankly expecting a stable to marginal improvement in NIMs because of the likely slippages and impact of slippages. So we feel the NIMs are in line with our expectations from that perspective.
And Mona, what about loan growth now going ahead as far as the future and the following quarters are concerned, as far as private banks in general and how Axis Bank compares in relativity as well? What's your understanding? How does it look now?
So I think on the growth front, we were expecting 14-15% kind of growth overall, and domestic growth to be stable at 18 to 20%, and they have delivered on that. And our overall view is that some of these larger private banks in the current environment should be able to deliver, because on the corporate side there's been a big concern on growth, and somehow corporates are preferring smaller syndication for loan, and therefore that is benefiting some of these larger players, both from the lower yield perspective that corporates get from them, as well as from the perspective of the opportunity that they have in terms of the choice for the borrowers as well.
Darpin Shah and Mona Khaitan, many thanks for joining us with your perspective on the kind of numbers getting reported by Axis Bank for the third quarter. The NII has come in at 6,453 crores as against our poll. Our estimates were around 6,400 crore rupees, and we've seen the disappointment that has come in on their bottom line. The slippages have gone up, and we will get you more analysis. For the moment, we're out of time on this edition of Business Prime Time. Thanks, Anil, for joining us. I'm Vikram Oza from me and the team. Do stay with us here on ET Now.